This is BackCreekDaddy Presents Interviews, and I'm going to be your host today. My name's Wes, and today we're interviewing the BackCreekDaddy himself, Ed Hess.
Howdy.
Some of the fans wanted to know, they wanted to ask him some questions since he's been doing all these interviews. So we have some questions here that the fans and your co-cast people and co-artists have put together for us.
Well, this ought to be quite interesting.
Alright, the first question, how did you start making the movies?
How did I start making the movies? We got the idea, we had a camera, we got the idea that, hey, we can make a script, we can make movies. And the idea actually came from making skits for role-playing. And from there it just grew.
Yep, I was there. So, what inspired you to create Drac Black?
Well, Drac Black character, as you know, when you introduced me to role-playing, him and his friends wanted me to run a game. So I came up with this character. He survived the game.
Yeah, he was the bad guy, villain of the game. He made this guy who claimed to be a vampire. It was really cool when we were like, oh, he's a crazy guy. And at the end, he had it where we weren't totally convinced he could have been a vampire. And then he kept bringing him back, and he was this recurring bad guy. It was really cool.
Yeah, and he kept surviving, so one thing led to another.
What inspired him particularly?
I got the idea for the first time I played him. I kind of like combined ideas from the original Dark Shadows and an old McCloud episode, which was a TV detective show from the 70s where he was investigating these deaths, and it was an actor who thought he was a vampire, and at the end of the movie he jumped off a bridge and they could never find a body, but a bat flew out from under the bridge, and so that kind of like inspired me along with the Dark Shadows.
Sounds cool. I've always wanted to see the episode that you talk about of that show. Okay, when you made the first movie, Crossover Alliance, did you have any idea that 10 years later you would still be making the movies?
Well,
I certainly didn't.
No.
It's actually been like 12 years now.
It kind of, well, the first movie actually came out in 2002. I think it took a year to film on and off. I really didn't think about it at the time, but then after that we had so much fun, we did another one. And then after we did the third one, I considered quitting, you know, but everybody kept saying, oh no, you can't quit, blah, blah. So, and now we're on movie 6. And writing the script for movie 7.
Yeah. In the movie Out of the Darkness, that was what, part 3, Drac Black was thought dead. Why did you decide to bring him back? William Shatner effect.
Well, you know, I was content with the third movie going to be the end, like I said. And then after I'd done it, after I wrote his death scene, I kind of got the William Shatner feel when
Shatner syndrome.
He agreed to let Captain Kirk be killed and his character to be killed off. He regretted it. He said many times he regretted it, and then I started regretting it, and I had to. So then I had to find a way to bring him back, which led clear up to movie 5.
But in movie 4, he's technically dead in that one.
He appears 2 times as a ghost, but
which I thought that was cool to leave him dead for a little while.
Yes.
And then make his comeback more dramatic. And even his comeback, you don't know it's him until halfway through the movie.
Right.
Alright, number 5. Did you think you will ever make a movie that doesn't involve any of your current characters? Something outside of the Drac saga?
Well, I don't know. You know, I'm open to the idea. We, we've thought about something else, but it would still involve a couple of the characters because it'd be like a spin-off thing. But
Well, me and Jason had talked about doing Star Wars skits back in the day. We never did it though, but we were practicing lightsaber moves and stuff, and he always talked about doing our version of a Doctor Who show or something.
but BackCreekDaddy Productions is we try to stay in the gothic type supernatural spies and all that. All our movies involve
Horror sci-fi.
yeah, kind of like that. We got spies, we got agents, we have.
And BackCreekDaddy Productions was created after the movies started being made. It was kind of made out of necessity to be the thing for the movies.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like stuck in. We've kind of stayed in the horror genre.
Well, here's one I'm sure people that are fans on the page, on the Facebook page, want to know. How can people get a copy of the films to watch?
Okay, the first up until the first 5 movies have only been available to cast members, family, friends of family. But plans in the future are to go back, re-edit our first movies with original soundtrack, which a lot of that we hope is going to be provided by Drawn by Horses in 1800 and Frozen to Death. And once we put original soundtrack on, then we're gonna we'll put it out to the public. So that as of right now,
So you're gonna put them all out on YouTube?
we're gonna do the first one. It might be a year or so from now. We're gonna do the first one, see how it turns out, see what kind of response we get. If it's good, we're gonna re-edit the second one with a new soundtrack of original music, and we'll do it from there. Take it. The movie we're working on right now, plans are for it to be original music, and it will be released out, so anyone can see it.
Cool.
That's the plans.
Why did you start the Support Local Talent campaign?
That was done as a reminder to people that there is a lot of local talent in there, right around them, whether it be kids or adults, and that encouragement can get those people to step forward or to continue with their whatever they're doing, paintings, singing, whatever. And the Support Local Talent was, like I said, a reminder to people that they are out there, and supporting local talent does not mean you have to dig deep into your wallet. It can be as simple as just encouraging words, and that's what I've tried to stress to everyone, that there's 100 ways to support local talent that does not have to cost you, And with the economy the way it is, I'm sure a lot of people don't have that kind of support, but there's all kinds of other support, words of encouragement, maybe show up at an event that they're doing, or passing out pamphlets, or just spreading the word, or sharing their event, or sharing their art on, if you have a Facebook page or whatever, or just word of mouth spreading it to other people. So that is a form of support.
So you started supporting local talent because what, you knew some people or met some people?
Yeah, that, and then realizing that there are a lot of people out there who you might never see anything from them if some people just didn't say something.
Give them a place, encourage them to do it,
right.
And maybe even help them get a place to do it and set up a show, or
or
help them to
support local talent. That's what it was, to make people aware.
Well, I know me and my friends, when we were younger, we knew there was a bunch of local people around, and we wanted to get into like some kind of thing where everybody worked together, but of course it never happened, but it was always a good idea. I was like, I know painters, I know musicians, I know all these people, they should be working together and hanging out with each other and getting creative, but it never happened. So it's a cool thing that what we're doing with this now, and with the
Yeah, and supporting local talent also
networking is cool.
tried to work that way too, to introduce other artists to each other,
Yeah.
to share their work.
And that's helping you meet artists and people around the area.
Right.
So that's cool. All right. Why did you start doing BackCreekDaddy Presents interviews? That kind of goes with the question.
Well, yeah, that was just,
kind of showcasing.
we just had this idea to do some interviews with people in a way to, which was another way of supporting local talent. We did some interviews with people, whether they were painters, actors, whatever. It give people a chance to hear a little bit about them, to see it, maybe see a little bit of their work, or to get a little background on the people. And
this
it's
has
been a lot of fun.
This was the first time for the internet community. This was like a way to get BackCreekDaddy Productions out there, because of course none of the movies are out there for anybody to see. So this is like your first encounter with the whatever online community.
Yeah.
And it's showing what we do. And
This is our 8th interview, which the cast and crew insisted upon an interview with me, so that's why I'm here to answer these questions.
being interrogated.
But the interviews are on YouTube. Anybody can go see them.
Yeah. And from the Facebook fan page.
Yeah, just punch up BackCreekDaddy. Go to YouTube, punch up BackCreekDaddy Productions, and you'll find them.
And you had already been showing like people's art on the fan page. So then from there it's like, well, let's do some interviews and show live faces.
Right. I do have segments or sections on the page of different people's photography, drawings, paintings, things like that.
Okay, now we have a few questions from some of our fellow cast members. One of them is Tammy. She asked, what originally inspired you to make the movies? Which you already answered that.
Yeah, I pretty much already answered that. It was role playing.
Question.
It was the role playing that got me involved in thinking, oh, instead of skits, we can make a film.
Yeah. How did your family feel when you first asked them to portray characters in your films?
They were, yeah, we can do this. Yeah, we can make a little movie.
Yeah, we just thought it'd be fun.
And we thought it would be 20-minute film, and ended up being, the first one was roughly 45 minutes long. And from there, they've averaged up around an hour or so, and everybody's been supportive of that, and they've been willing to participate. So that's why you see a lot of the family in our films.
And I remember from the beginning, me, Jason, and Jesse were like, yeah, this is fun, this is cool, let's do it. Okay, well, number 3, did you ever imagine your story ideas would evolve into making 6 films? You kind of answered that too, you didn't expect it to go this way.
No, it's just one of those things that has happened. It just,
And then her second question there was, did you ever think that your movies would ever become so involved, such as many number of scenes and many characters and the plot twists and turns?
No, that kind of like grew also. As time went on, I kept wanting to tell more, so my scripts got a little bit more involved, and instead of just basically one thing going on, we had different things.
Filming involved, our technology to film it evolved.
Yes.
Everything evolved as we kept doing it. Alright, Jason asks, you've said that the 7th movie, Blood Trail, will most likely be the last in the voluminous Black Saga. So what's next? A new saga? Or perhaps films that are independent of one another, meaning they're not connected by story or characters? You kind of answered some of that.
Yeah, well, I've been saying I've said this for several movies that the Block Saga was gonna be put to rest. I'm 90% sure that our 7th script will will leave the Block Saga. That'll probably be the end. Most likely, it's going to be the last film on the Drac Black Saga.
The end of the
And after
film,
that, I don't know. No, I'm not saying it's the end of Drac. I'm saying that our story will come to an end, most likely. I'm not guaranteeing it. You know what might happen. There may be a script 8, but at this point, I'm 90-some% sure that Blood Trail will be the last of the. You know, not saying that later down the road I won't, because we have a parallel world. We have our world. You know, I could always. There's so many doors that are open if I choose to go in them, but that's too far down the road. You know, the script is not completed for that movie yet. We're still working on movie 6.
Well, you always talked about writing some background story to Drac after the movies were done. Perhaps maybe you'll carry on his story, but maybe in a different form.
Well, not to tell a lot, but my main idea is after the 7th movie is to yes, do background on him and possibly put out a book on Drac Black.
Cool. His second question, Wes Hess has without a doubt played the most roles throughout the film series so far. Of the various characters he has portrayed, which was your personal favorite and why?
Well, as you all know, this is Wes. He's been in all the films, and up until the Pawn,
I have a couple awards back there to prove it.
up until the Pawn, I would have had to said, you know, Charlie Haynes, but after the Pawn, my favorite character of him is Nicholas Hyde.
Yeah, me too.
And the reason is when he portrayed Nicholas Hyde, you brought out a whole different side.
Yeah, it was fun playing.
And it was completely different from the good Charlie Haynes or the borderline Charlie Haynes. You know, we have a Charlie Haynes in our world and a twinner in the parallel world.
Yeah, I call him Agent Haynes. I'm dressed as Agent Haynes today.
But when he portrayed the bad guy, Nicholas Hyde, it brought out a whole different side, and it was just awesome.
When I think the wig and the suit, I didn't normally wear that. Charlie Haynes, I just wore my regular stuff, but that kind of like put me into a character.
He brought off Nicholas Hyde as a badass gangster,
but who was really a wuss when his gang wasn't around.
Yes, when he didn't have any help, he was
wussed out so bad he even cried a little bit there at the end. Okay, Don, he asks, who is your favorite director or directors? And does he or she, and does he or has he ever drawn inspiration? Oh, I guess he's talking about you. Have you ever drawn inspiration from any of their films? Who's your favorite director?
Yes, Dan Curtis was the creator, director, producer of the original Dark Shadows. You know, and I have that original Dark Shadows soap opera inspired a lot of what I have done with these films. That's been a big inspiration to me. He also did some movies, directed some movies, but you know, Dark Shadows was a big influence. And I know this guy's not a director, he's a writer, but I also drew a lot from Stephen King and Dean Koontz, authors. But as far as director goes, I'd have to say Dan Curtis, simply because I drew my most inspiration from Dark Shadows, and he's the director and producer.
That's cool, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Alright, his second question, what movies, if any, inspired this film?
Retribution.
Or it says his films. I don't know sure. If so, which ones? What movies inspired your film?
Oh, what movies inspired my films? Like I said, I guess it mostly was the soap opera itself, the daily soap opera. He did put out 2 Dark Shadows movies.
And the original Lost Boys.
And
was
Lost Boys, yes, was also a big influence
back then, definitely.
That was also a big influence to what we do with our films, and a lot of the old horror stuff. But like I said, my biggest influences came from Dark Shadows and reading Stephen King, and Lost Boys. Yes, that was definitely involved.
I remember when we were first making the movies, it was, yeah, definitely have a feel of Dark Shadows, Lost Boys, and Usato and the Agents all came from our role-playing games, which, you know, just goes back to old basic spy
Yeah,
agency
and
type of stuff.
We did that too. Because originally, when the original Dark Shadows series didn't start out gothic, and you know, they was kind of like some shady characters and stuff, and so I thought, you know, well, that's a good combination: shady characters, gangsters, agents, and a horror story.
Yeah, it's cool. Spies, horror. I like it. All right, well, that was the end of our questions here, but as I recall, last time we interviewed Drogo, I was filming it, and there at the end of the interview, he kind of turned it around on you and started asking you questions.
Yeah, when we got done, that was the Drogo interview part 2, and when we got done, he kind of turned to the table and asked me a couple questions.
It was kind of funny the way he was like, well, I guess they'll see it, so we're going to end the segment with their interview, which is an interview in itself, and that will conclude the September episode of BackCreekDaddy Productions and the season finale for the year.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be back March of 2013, February,
right.
Possibly February.
Can you give us any hints or heads up on who might be interviewed next season?
I got a few hopes and ideas. One of them is drawn by horses. We're going to try to connect. We were going to try to connect up with some other bands, and that kind of fell through. But hopefully next season we will get at least one local band interview, a drawn by horses interview, and we're not sure how we're going to do this yet, but there's an idea floating around to maybe do an interview that we may not have the person actually in front of us, but maybe we could do an audio interview with
that's cool.
With someone who's not around here, but they are into the same types of things we
like
have.
over the phone or
possibly
Skype.
If we got to work this out yet, and I still haven't talked to the people, but it's just thought that's going through my head.
So a phone interview, that'd be cool.
Yeah, be something different.
Yeah.
But those are ideas for season 2, and in between now and then we'll be working on our films, and I'll be working on a new script, and of course the holidays will be coming soon, so everybody will have their plate full.
All right, well, you heard it there. This was the interview with the founder and creator of BackCreekDaddy Productions and BackCreekDaddy Presents, and we're going to close out with this. Oh, go ahead.
Before we show the Drogo questions, I just want to say to all my cast and crew out there who have been involved with BackCreekDaddy Productions, I want to thank you guys. You're the best, and you know, we couldn't do any of this without you all participating. So there's too many of you to mention, you know, but you know who you are, and you've been with us for quite a while, so thanks all you guys.
All right, and here's the final segment, Drogo interviewing our founder, Ed Hess.
This was part 2 of our interview, and I hope everybody has a good time watching it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
It's an honor. And now I'd like to ask you a couple questions. Is that okay? You want to just run it together? Cut it?
Let's cut that.
I wanted to take this opportunity to discuss with you tonight a little bit about my belief in supporting independent film and especially local talent or produce, whether it's local grown foods or local grown artwork or videos. In the case of BackCreekDaddy Productions, you've got a great horror film genre being created in this on the back creek of Martinsburg and West Virginia. And I want to talk a little bit before I ask the founder, Mr. Hess, some questions. Let me first address the audience and say that I think the reason why I think supporting independent films and local filmmaking is so important is because as a culture we've become too dependent on large corporate filmmaking, for instance, Hollywood. The reason why this is a problem is because while we enjoy the high-dollar entertainment and the, very realistic special effects, and maybe actors can get more into their parts when they're paid more, I suppose. However, while that's all fine and dandy, and we've really enjoyed Star Wars and all the Hollywood movies and related companies. The reason why it's important to open our minds and expand our awareness that we should support independent filmmaking is because they have a monopoly on film. So that our taste in film, I think, as a culture, is based on that monopoly, if you follow me. So because those films are popular and everybody goes and pays money to see them, inherently we tend to think, well, those are good films. But you begin to see the breakdown of this ideology when you hear critics saying, oh, that film was a piece of crap, or something like that. And this happens as we get more and more picky. Another result of the monopoly is we become more and more picky about we have to have the high dollar, we have to have famous actors and this type of thing. So we're putting all our money, our hard-earned money, towards people that are already rich. Whereas you can say, wait a minute, maybe I can support somebody who's maybe having to struggle a little harder to pay bills. And now then we get into, well, the film isn't as good. Well, why isn't the film as good? Let's get into that psychology, okay, for a minute. We think, oh, the production value is not as good. Okay, the acting's not as good. Why is that? Well, they're not paid actors, maybe. Okay, they have other things that they do in their lives. What's wrong with that? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. In fact, I think it's great if you can support people that are not famous, because I say, why do we only have to pick a certain few to sort of rule the empire? I think it would be nice if maybe some, heaven forbid, some common people actually get some recognition for being alive. And being alive is tied into artwork, because artwork is an expression of your life. So if you think life is valuable, I would say support individual artists. They don't have to be famous. Get away from the idea that they have to be famous to be good. I think anybody can be recognized for what they do, and you can get enjoyment from watching any type of film. For example, does anyone like cheese? We say films are cheesy. I happen to like cheese, and there's nothing wrong with cheese. So, if you have a sense of humor, if you can look at something from, don't be jealous of somebody else making a film. Try to look at it in like from their perspective, go, okay, here's an independent filmmaker trying to make a film, trying to express themselves through art. Now, okay, it's not technically perfect, and it's not Hollywood standards because they don't have the same budget, we know that. But maybe I can find some enjoyment through watching it. Maybe it's still entertaining. Maybe you see all the mistakes and you go, oh, that's a mistake. Well, does that mean I don't have to enjoy watching it? No, it doesn't. You say, oh, I like how they did that. They really got good lighting there. Wow, the production level is very good considering the budget. Wow, that's amazing. So, okay, I've gone on, and I'm sure this will be edited because I've rambled a lot. But anyway, I'm going to ask the founder some questions. Mr. Hess, how did BackCreekDaddy Productions get started?
Well, BackCreekDaddy Productions, the idea started well over 10 years ago. My sons got me involved in role-playing. And we thought we'd add a little bit to the role-playing. So we started making like 5-minute video skits to incorporate into the role-playing. And one thing led to another, and I said, hey, we could make a little film. We're doing these little skits. We could actually put a script together and do a film. So I sat down one day and I wrote this story that was actually based on a character that we were using in role-playing. And it ended up being probably a 50-minute film. We thought 15, 20 minutes. It ended up like 45, 50 minutes long. And everybody had so much fun. It was actually family and some friends, and we did it for fun. And everybody had so much fun and laughed about it and all, that we decided to do another one. And we've continued to do them, and our cast has continued to grow. It's now included other family members that weren't with us 10 years ago involved in them. It's got other friends involved. So BackCreekDaddy Productions actually, I would say, began in 2002 with our first film. But the idea came a couple years before that with my sons introducing me to role-playing. And it just one thing led to another. And so, although these films aren't really available to the public, a lot of the family members have copies, a lot of friends have copies. They were done for non-profit. They were done with not to be rented, not to be sold, only or publicly shown, only for private viewing, and all that. But our hope is our current project right now that we're working on, which is called Retribution, and it's our 6th film. We will be applying original soundtrack. The majority of this soundtrack is most likely going to come from Drawn by Horses or 1800 Frozen to Death. There is some others that are going to submit, but it will be original. And with that in mind, the 6th movie will be put up for public viewing. I guess that was kind of like a long answer.
Awesome.
But
Awesome. Okay, I have a more personal question about relating to your own attitude towards filmmaking and artwork. Who were your influences in developing your own attitude, or would you say, do you have a philosophy about art and the individual, or filmmaking, or?
Well,
and just talk about the thought process there.
My kids open me to ideas that 20 years ago I wasn't open to. You know, they're great kids, and they showed me that there was a whole lot of doors to go through, and there was a lot of fun to, you know, life is more than just get up, go to work, come home, go to bed. You know, there's a life to live and fun to be had, and we have a lot of fun doing these films. So once they got me involved, and I said, man, you know, I'm having a lot of fun, and plus I'm doing things with my kids and some of their friends and some of my friends and family members, other family members, and so it opened my eyes to a lot of things, opened the door to a lot of things, which included was, I strongly now believe, like I said, 20, 30 years ago, I probably didn't think a whole lot about it, but if you got a desire to do something, whether it be make a homemade film, which is, that's what they are, to make a recording, write stories, don't be afraid to go for it. You know, do it and have fun doing it, because that's the main thing. Have fun doing it and sharing it, and don't worry about, well, I can't make nothing doing this. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to show people that you can have fun doing things you enjoy doing, and maybe what you're doing is, you know, will inspire somebody else, you know. And BackCreekDaddy Productions is, that's our desire, to get people to show their talents, to step forward, not be bashful about their you know, maybe somebody has, man, I always wanted to act. Well, make a homemade film, you know, either, you know, somebody, they don't like it, so what? You liked it, you had fun doing it, you know, and it's something to maybe laugh about or maybe to build upon, just like we did. I mean, everybody had so much fun. Yeah, we laughed about the mistakes, we made a lot of screw-ups, but we kept going because we just kept having fun doing it. So, you know, if there's something out that you want to do, whether it's draw, paint, tell stories, write stories, make movies, then do it, because life will slip you by, and the next thing you know, you're going, damn, why didn't I ever do that? You know, I always wanted to do that, but I just didn't have time. Make the time, because life is too short to just work, sleep, and worry about things. I mean, you know, you have a life. Live your life. Do things to, you know, yeah, I know you have, you know, people have to work to get by in today's society, that you have to have an income, but it doesn't mean you have to close yourself off from your family and just work every waking hour. Spend time doing things with your family, whether it be, you know, hanging out, playing music, making videos, whatever, you know, doing things together. And if you have a talent, go ahead and throw it out there and let people enjoy what you can do, because like I said, life is too short to just one day wake up and say, damn, you know, I used to do that. I used to draw, but I never, you know, I didn't do it.
And you wish you had.
Right. So what's my philosophy? I don't really know if I have a philosophy. It said, don't let life slip you by without, you know, if you have things that make you happy doing, go ahead and do them. Make time to do them. You know, because I know too many people that left everything slip by, you know, and it was too late. So, you know, hopefully my kids and my grandkids can look back and say, geez, wasn't my dad was funny as hell on that, wasn't he? Or, you know, man, he sucked at that. But it'd be all right because they will, you know, it'll be okay.
Well, I find your attitude very inspiring, sir. So,
Thank